So Ray Rees is the head of sales at Totalmobile. He's going to be covering the concept of joining a PE-backed SaaS business in a senior leadership role, his experiences and lessons learned. Many people talk about moving into leadership. So what does that mean when you make that transition? Also, like, how do you map out success and get there? That's important. So Ray's been in sales for over 11 years, 6 of those in sales leadership. His big break came in 2016, where he secured an AE role at BMC Software. And there he was able to be mentored and managed by a number of world-class leaders around the kind of medic sales methodology. At BMC, he established himself as a top-performing AE, delivering 150 and 200% of his quota. That led to him being moved into a sales director role, then into an area director role. And he grew the business by 30% in his first year running the region. In 2020, he decided to take on a new challenge, and he's now the head of sales of Totalmobile, managing a team of 5 managers, 28 salespeople, on for a record-breaking year. So can we have a round of applause for our first speaker?
Great intro, I wrote it. So.
Yeah. Always helps.
Yeah, it always helps.
All right, let's get this into presenter video.
Well, I'll just start. So, yeah, thanks everyone. I kind of got roped into this by my brother, so hopefully it's going to be useful. I've not done anything like this before, so that's the first kind of disclaimer, I guess. But when I had the opportunity to do it, I was thinking, well, the first thing I've got to do is come up with a relevant topic, or a topic that I think will be useful. And I've obviously attended talks like this before. I've kind of watched videos of talks like this before, and I've had conversations over my career with inspirational leaders and mentors. And I was looking back and thinking, well, what stands out in those conversations and presentations? And I realized that the things I remembered most and the things that I extracted most value from were stories, people telling me about their careers, what they'd done, the challenges they'd overcome, the things that they were doing, the things they were planning to do, and how I could apply them to my life and my career. So that very quickly led me to this topic, which is a particular point in my career, which was, as James has just mentioned, transitioning from BMC Software, which is this US headquartered, multi-billion-dollar powerhouse global software company, to a much smaller UK headquartered kind of niche SaaS company, which is more in growth mode, which is a really, it's been a fascinating transition, truth be told, and it's something I want to talk about, basically. So, with that in mind, and considering I'm here to talk about that and me and what I've been up to, I figured that the best place to start would be page 1 of my business plan, the business plan I'm executing at the moment. And this is a bit cheesy, but this is what I recommend page 1 of every business plan to be. For all of my team members, this is what I ask them to do. So it's basically connecting yourself with your personal and professional goals, because that's what we're here to do, right? That's what gets us out of bed in the morning. So before you get into the nitty-gritty of business planning, territory analysis, people analysis, all the stuff we do as leaders when we're planning how we're going to grow a region, why are we doing this? Why are we here? What are we doing? So for me, it's these things. I'm not going to talk about them too much because I don't have time. But my wife Amy, my young daughter Evie, I was just talking about with you there, Heather. So there's lots of personal stuff. There's lots of professional stuff. I'm really passionate about sales leadership, learning, growing, building, and being part of great high-performing teams. So that's what gets me out of bed in the morning. Just to kind of set the scene, James kind of mentioned my career path at BMC, which I can't speak highly enough of my time there. I was really fortunate, I think, to land there at the time that I did. This kind of medic sales process, structured methodology with high-quality leaders, some of the most brilliant leaders in the industry. For me to be in that environment at the point that I was just perfect. It was like a match made in heaven, right? And things just really accelerated from there. And then, however, by the time I got to become area director of the UK and Ireland, I kind of had this itch I needed to scratch a little bit. I'd seen, and this is where I think we get into the kind of money matters career stuff, because these are the little decisions we have to make along the way in our careers about, and why are we making them, what we're trying to achieve. And for me, I don't know, I guess the idea of going into where I was, even though I was running the UK and Ireland region, it's still a relatively small cog in a big machine. All the decisions are getting made in Houston, Texas. It's kind of PE owned, but really I'm not really close to that detail in any way, shape or form. I'm just kind of executing my own little world in the UK. So I found this company, Totalmobile, and it really, really excited me. And the opportunity, the aspects of the opportunity that were most appealing were these, I guess. So I could take on full ownership of the sales function, end to end. And the best way I can think to describe or bring that to life, I guess, is that my forecast is the company forecast now, rather than my forecast being part of UK forecast, which rolls up into the EMEA, which rolls into Globe. My forecast is literally what gets reported to the board and our ownership, which I really liked, and I got get to get a lot more visibility as a result. UK headquartered, PE owned, and obviously, don't think we're all friends here. Significant stock with ability to sell the company in the next 2 to 3 years, which was attractive. On top of that are my sort of non-negotiables. These are things that I'm sure we all think about. When you're looking to move company, I would always recommend growing market, differentiated solution, and great people. You can validate all those things in a recruitment process very easily. Growing market, you can look at third-party leadership, third-party kind of literature to see if the market you're in is growing. Is there money being spent? Solution, you can get a demo, you can talk to customers, read case studies, all that stuff. And people, you can speak to as many people as you can in the company to get a feel for whether it's a great place you want to work. Now, in terms of the people at Totalmobile, this is where it got really interesting. So I inherited a team. I had at the time 19 salespeople and 3 managers, and this was quite a uncomfortable situation, to be honest, because I'd previously obviously moved from IC into leader, and I'd kind of been there, done that, worn the t-shirt, and had earned my stripes, if you like. So this was a new experience for me, straight off the bat, to be inheriting a team and have all these people looking back at me, probably quite skeptical. Wondering, who's this guy, what's he going to do for me? And they were kind of an underperforming team, great people, but just had no structure, no direction, weren't really realising their potential. So I'm sure they were all sceptical. In fact, I know they were, because they've now told me that they were. But it was really, really fast. And I thought to myself, well, how am I going to approach this? Because I've not done this before. And whenever I'm in a situation like that, I think back to, I think we're all just a kind of sum of the parts of the experiences we've had, the kind of advice we've been given. And there were 3 particular pieces of advice I was given which shaped how I approached this. He would never forgive me if I didn't put him up on this slide. A guy called Rees Thomas. So he's been my mentor and manager for many, many years. And he's always talking to me about bringing energy and bring your personality to the table. I think we can fall into the trap of just getting too entrenched in the detail and the operational side of things without bringing our energy and personality. This is a guy called Paul Kant. Some of you may recognise him, I don't know. He's recently been appointed as the global CRO of BMC. He's moved through the ranks there. Very scary guy. Hope he doesn't watch this back. But very impressive guy. And I remember when I moved into my first leadership role, he called me and he said that, basically. When you take on a new team, you've got to find a way to add value to them as quickly as possible. Even like if you have to manufacture it and create it out of thin air, find a way to add value to them as quickly as possible. Even if they're skeptical, even if they're not entirely sure, hey, what's this guy about? I'm not sure if I like this. We want to progress our own worlds. If someone adds value to you, you're going to gravitate towards them. But I think the most important was this guy here. He's a guy called Peter Leave. So about 2 years into my time at BMC, I don't know if that's a clip from the actual story I'm about to tell you, but let's pretend it is. 2 years into my time at BMC, they appointed this guy, Peter Leave, as the new CEO. Proper like all-American hero, like strides in, full of energy. Again, we're sitting there because it was a few weeks into his time at BMC. It was the sales kickoff event in Las Vegas. So there's 2,000 salespeople in this auditorium, and the first point on the agenda is Peter Leave introducing himself and doing like a keynote opening. And we never spoke about it, the group of people I was with, but I think everyone expected it to be a bit of a, meet and greet. Hey, I'm a few weeks in, I'm finding my feet, 100-day plan, a bit of kind of generic overview, and then sit down and let the people do the talking who've been here for years. But what this guy delivered, I will never, ever forget. He strode on the stage, and without any notes or prompting or anything, he had his slides, and he delivered this like super detailed but super compelling presentation about the market, the company, the products, the strategy. He had a new strategy he was launching. We were like learning things about our business from this guy who had been here like 3 weeks. And you could feel the kind of energy in the room. Like everyone was sort of like sitting up in their chairs a little bit like, holy shit, this guy is a serious player. He's a serious, and in an instant, within like a 20, 30 minute presentation, he had like 2,000 salespeople in the palm of his hand, basically. And I was like, wow, that's a really powerful thing. And I'm not going to pretend that what I was doing was on that scale, but I think you can tap into that approach, basically. So I thought, okay, well, I sort of changed my thinking then of how I was going to approach this transition, because I had a month off between BMC and Totalmobile, and I planned to put my feet up, truth be told, and chill out a bit, drink a few beers, relax, go on holiday, all that kind of stuff. And I did do a lot of that, but I thought I'm going to spend some time doing some proper research now, and I'm going to arrive in my first week and set my stall out and have a plan and have a view of how I was going to take things forward. Now, clearly, you don't fully know what you're going to do until you get in the door and you speak to the people and you speak to the customers and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't want to just turn up with a blank sheet of paper, basically. So my first 2 days, I arranged 15-minute kind of calls with every single member of the team. That took up 2 days. That was fine. And on my third day, I got the whole team together for what I called a sales kickoff event, but really it was just introductions, training, and I launched a business plan on day 3. And some of the team talked to me about that now, and it really did set the tone, I think. And what I want to do now is show you some of that plan, because it's still being executed today, nearly 2 years later. So this was January 22. So we're still in the process of executing this plan. And I want to show it to you, basically, and talk to you about some of it. So I don't know if you've heard of this, or if anyone's heard of this structure called a VSEM. It was kind of taught to me a few years back, and I found it a really, really useful way when you're business planning to kind of gather your thoughts on a page for how then the detail behind your plan will go thereafter. But it gives you a really graphical view of how your plan is going to be structured. So VSEM stands for Vision, Strategies, Execution, and Metrics. So to bring that to life with my actual plan, this is our vision for our team, and it will continue to be for as long as I'm here. You can read it for yourself, but it's all about delighting our customers, accelerating the company's growth ambitions, which are ambitious, and then achieving our personal and professional goals, which I spoke about earlier. That's the team we want to be. That's how we want to go about things. The next bit is probably the most important, or certainly leads to being the most important. What are the strategies? What are the kind of headings for what we're going to try and achieve? And I landed on these 4 things, and I hope now, if you were to call a member of my team and ask them what the 4 strategies of the Totalmobile Sales Business Plan are, they would be able to tell you. I'd be very disappointed if they couldn't, because we bang on about it all the time. But these are the things that we build all of our energy, all of our activity around, these four topics. And they're very simple, and I'm a very simple man. So we grow the pipeline, and we improve conversion. Those are the first 2 things. And just to pause on those 2 things for a minute. If as sales leaders, all we do is grow the pipeline, we will close more revenue. That's an obvious thing to say. More pipeline, more deals. Stands to reason. If we don't do that, but all we do is improve conversion, then we will also close more deals, because with the same amount of pipeline, you'll close more of it. If we do both of those things, then it's a force multiplier, basically. So that's the logic. So grow pipeline, improve conversion, increase average deal size. We want to be operate more as an enterprise vendor, multi-product enterprise deals, 6-7-figure ARR deals. And then a plan of this level of, I think, if I can say that, sophistication, requires a very high quality team to execute it. So we had to prioritize people, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. So this really helped us, because now every single thing we've done since day 1 to today fits under one or more of these headings. So I'm just going to give you a few examples of the execution and some of the things that we're doing underneath each. So grow the pipeline. I could talk to you for ages about these things, and I'll resist the urge to do that. We launched a new PG process. We do lots of PG, pipeline generation, and training. We run monthly PG days, 2 days a month. Everyone's in the office PGing. 1 minute. Jesus. Okay, I'm going to keep going. And then we measure each of those things against that. Improve conversion. We launched a new sales process. This concept of engagement excellence, and a new SharePoint site, lots of things we did around conversion, but it's all about sales process and execution in conversion. Really, really critical. We've got the pipeline built. What are we doing with it? How well do we treat it? How we want to convert as much of it as we possibly can by putting it through a world-class sales process. And we can measure lots of things along the way there. Increasing our average deal size, we completely reinvented the messaging, how we were going to market. Rather than individual products, we're talking about platform. We've launched a strategic sales team. I've done lots of training, a large deal training as well. Lots of things around that. And then people is the most important aspect. So the first thing I did on this box here was I tapped into my network. I couldn't do this on my own. So I've recruited 7 people out of my network to join Totalmobile, people I've worked with in the past and that I trust and that are like-minded. And that's helped us to move a lot more quickly. Managers and salespeople, etc. New recruitment process. We launched an LMS platform. We launched the Sales Academy. We do lots of leadership training. And we can measure lots of things around that. So this is the organization today after that transformation. So we've grown the team. We've restructured the team. And we've now got 29 salespeople and 5 managers. And these are some of the, just to prove to you I'm not making it up, these are some of the things that we're doing. These are screenshots from some of the stuff. So you've got there our sales process, the development plan that all of our reps will have, the Calidus platform, screenshot from the monthly PG days that we run, the business plan that all the sales reps have to create, the SharePoint site, our platform messaging, all the stuff that we're doing, all of it fits under those headings. And we can obviously measure on a daily basis whether or not this stuff is actually working. So the metrics, I guess, under each heading that are most impactful, I think, are our pipeline is double the size that it was when I joined. Our conversion rate has gone from 24% to 30%, our lifetime conversion rate. Average deal size has gone up by 14%. And the one I'm most proud of, I think, our FY is January to December, so we're 10 months into the FY. We've had literally 0% attrition across that team. So it's a brilliant team, great culture, but without, a thing I've learned, I think, above all else, is that you can have all the great processes and structure in the world. You haven't got the right team. It's pointless. It's like Pep Guardiola managing the dog and duck pub teams and just not going to work, right? It just doesn't work. So the most important thing, I guess, is the outcomes. This is what the board care about. We've had 5 consecutive record quarters. We're on track for 40% year-on-year bookings growth. We've recently announced our expansion into Australia because of our growth and success in the UK. So we've just incorporated our Australian entity and hired 2 people out in Australia. And we're growing in the UK, so we're hiring in the UK as well. It's not a recruitment pitch, I promise. Last slide from me. Lessons learned, I guess. So leveraging the network and the people was important, preparing to add value, bring your personality, maintain connection to your goals at all times. And the thing I think I don't do particularly well is enjoy the ride, because it's tough, right? The one thing about these PE-backed smaller businesses that are in growth mode, it's like you're under the microscope 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But one thing I actually, in putting these slides together, is I actually have enjoyed it. It's actually good fun. But I'm not enjoying it in the moment, if you like. So I think that's the thing that I've kind of learned from actually putting these slides together and doing this presentation is, enjoy the ride a little bit more. So that was it. Hopefully useful. Any questions towards the end, then happy to take them.